Tonight, a troubling update in the case of Laquan McDonald, 17-year-old African-American teenager shot and killed by Chicago police. There's a report of missing surveillance footage that may have shown moments before and after McDonald was killed. As we reported on this show, 17-year-old Laquan McDonald was shot and killed by Chicago police last October. At the time of the shooting, CPD did not offer an official account, but a spokesperson from the Fraternal Order of Police Union, said at the time, and I'm quoting from the Chicago Tribune, that the teen began walking toward Pulaski Road, that's a major street in Chicago, and ignored the officer's request to drop the knife. Officers got out of their car and began approaching McDonald, again telling him to drop the knife, Camden said. The boy allegedly lunged at police and one of the officers opened fire. McDonald was shot in the chest. He was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. The medical examiner's report showed, however, the teen was not shot not just once in the chest, but 16 times in the chest, scalp, neck, elbow, leg, arms, hand, and back. That revelation led us at All In to file a FOIA request for police dashcam video, which we had heard existed, of the actual shooting. CPD rejected that request, saying that releasing the video would, quote, interfere with active administrative enforcement proceedings and create a substantial likelihood a person will be deprived of a fair trial or an impartial hearing. Then, last month, a bombshell development. The city of Chicago's top lawyer went before the city council's finance committee and urged the committee to approve a $5 million settlement for the family of Laquan McDonald. The lawyer telling the committee, the officer who fired all 16 shots has claimed he was in fear for his life and cited the unreleased dashcam video, that dashcam video we are trying to get released and show you, as crucial to the city's decision to settle the case for that astonishing sum. Now, the city council unanimously approved the $5 million settlement, and that dashcam video still has not been made public. But the lawyers for the family of Laquan McDonald have seen it, and one of them described the footage to All In.
When Laquan is about 12 to 15 feet away from the officers, the width of an entire lane of the southbound traffic, one officer begins shooting. Laquan immediately spins to the ground, and the video then clearly shows that the officer continues to shoot Laquan multiple times as he lays in the street. 16 seconds pass from the time Laquan hits the ground until the last visible puff of smoke rises from his torso area. An officer then approaches Laquan, stands over him, and appears to shout something as he kicks the knife out of his hand.
The FBI, the U.S. Attorney, and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office are all investigating now Laquan McDonald's death, along with the Independent Police Review Authority, known as IPRA. Now come revelations, first reported by NBC television station in Chicago, that over an hour of surveillance footage from a Burger King located less than 100 yards from where McDonald was shot and killed is missing, according to his family's lawyer. Listen to this. The footage would not have shown the actual shooting, but may have shown McDonald running through the Burger King parking lot and witnesses in the parking lot. We spoke to Jay Darshane. He's a district manager for Burger King. While he was not there the night of the shooting, he told us that several police officers entered that Burger King after McDonald was shot and requested to view surveillance footage. He says he authorized employees at the Burger King to give police the password to access that footage. He says police stayed for around 3 hours, then left. The next day, Darshan says he was present when the Independent Police Review Authority, that's the Chicago version of Internal Affairs, came to the Burger King and asked to view their security footage. He says they discovered a chunk of surveillance footage missing from around the time 17-year-old Laquan McDonald was shot and killed. According to a McDonald family lawyer, 86 minutes was missing. In a statement to NBC television station in Chicago, a spokesperson for IPRA said, "We have no credible evidence at this time that would cause us to believe CPD purged or erased any surveillance video." Chicago police did not respond to our request for comment. Joining me now, Michael Robbins, who is representing the family of Laquan McDonald. Mr. Robbins, your reaction to this report?
Well, the fact that the police entered the Burger King restaurant without a warrant or a subpoena, accessed the system upon demanding the password, and then left, and that 86 minutes or so of video is missing from all 11 cameras is something that gave us a great deal of concern. Now, the video would not have shown the actual shooting, but it would have shown the events leading up to the shooting and perhaps some of the witnesses during the course of the shooting and the police interaction with the witnesses following the shooting. So there is no credible explanation for why this video is missing.
Are you in contact? I mean, this case is really kind of stunning to me, I gotta say. It's something we started looking at, people we knew at Chicago brought to our attention, and the more it goes on, the more it feels to me that something's not right here. Are you in contact with the various law enforcement authorities that say they are investigating this? Are you confident there's actually a process in place right now to investigate whether a crime was committed?
Yes, well, during the 5 months or so that we investigated this, during which we found out about the missing Burger King video, we were able to contact or come into contact with one or more of the occurrence witnesses. We were able to, and then we got the dash cam video, and we saw that the dash cam video depicted an incident that was completely different than what was represented as having happened by the FOP spokesman. So there's a couple aspects of this that are really quite shocking. The absence of the Burger King video is very difficult to understand. As I understand it, the police claim that when they arrived immediately after the shooting and accessed the system, that it was off, that it was powered off. Burger King has told us it's never powered off, and insofar as they know, it was working. So this 86 minutes during the relevant time frame is missing, and it would be an enormous coincidence if it just happened to be powered off during this particular time frame. But in addition, the police conduct in connection with the witnesses is very troubling. There are occurrence witnesses, two of whom we have spoken with, who witnessed the actual shooting itself because they became stopped in traffic at the moment when the shooting occurred. And they were within feet of the shooting and observed it from their stopped car. And immediately after the shooting, the police went up to these witnesses, these individuals who were witnesses, and told them to leave or be arrested. And so these people who were motorists were ordered to leave, and nobody asked them what they had seen, let alone even their identification. So these witnesses were told, I'm sorry.
No, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. This all happened in the middle of traffic on Pulaski. There are motorists who obviously are stopped because this has happened in the middle of Pulaski. There are multiple police cars. You're telling me there are motor vehicle drivers who are in stop traffic who actually witnessed the shooting and are then, after a man is shot and killed by police, instructed by police to leave the scene without any information collected or interviews conducted with them.
That's correct, or be arrested. Now, as it turns out, and these were motorists because as this developed, many police were on the scene, were arriving on the scene, and traffic was stopped on this busy four-lane street, this commercial boulevard. And immediately after the shooting, the witnesses were told to leave. And what happened in connection with one of them is when this individual, who was there with his son and witnessed this fatal shooting, heard what the FOP spokesman said had happened, and with his own eyes saw that was not true. After a great deal of searching of his conscience, he came forward and presented himself to IPRA, the Independent Review Police Authority, and gave them a statement to tell them what actually had occurred.
Michael Robbins, this case we're going to stay on. We're filing an appeal of the rejection of our FOIA. We will stay with this. Michael Robbins, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Well, disturbing dash cam video just released shows a white Chicago police officer killing a black teenager while on duty. We're going to show you the video in just a moment, but I want to warn you first, the video is graphic. 17-year-old Laquan McDonald was walking down the middle of the street on the southwest side of Chicago and did not appear to be advancing on officers. But within seconds of getting out of his car, Officer Jason Van Dyke shot McDonald a total of 16 times. Many of those shots appear to be fired with McDonald already slumped on the ground. As you'll see in the video, McDonald is carrying a knife in his hand. We're about to get the video right now. You see him walking on the street with a knife in his hand, but he appears to be walking away from the officers. Even the Cook County prosecutor says he never advanced on the officers, never moved toward them. He is shot to the ground and then shot multiple times, 16 total. Many of those shots appear to be happening while he is already slumped over on the ground, as you can see in this graphic dash cam video just released in the past hour. Now, 37-year-old Officer Van Dyke has been charged with first-degree murder. He's being held without bond, and it's the first time in 35 years a Chicago police officer has been charged with first-degree murder for an on-duty fatality. McDonald's family did not want the video to be released to the public, and now they are asking the city of Chicago to stay calm and peaceful, but we are seeing people go out into the streets right now in Chicago following about an hour ago the release of this video. Well, joining me now to discuss is retired Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal Matthew Fogg. Matthew, this video just released. I know there's a backstory here. I know that the cops were called for a specific reason. He has a knife in his hand. An autopsy report shows that McDonald did have PCP in his system. But is there any scenario where shooting this teenager 16 times while he's walking away from officers, is there any scenario where that's okay?
Absolutely not. I just don't see it where the gentleman's walking away from the officer and he just starts to open up on him. I just don't really see any scenario for that. If the guy turned around and attempted to throw the knife at the officer or attack the officer, that's one thing. Here, the video is clear evidence that the suspect was walking away and the officer just opened fire on him.
Now, Matthew, as someone in this field, what do you see when you watch this video?
Well, I see, you get a call on the radio, you get officers on alert. They get to the scene, they're trying to figure out whether or not what to do in a situation like this, whether they should take action against this individual. But again, everything is happening on a moment's notice. But the other officers who were there on the scene, even the one who had the dash camera on the particular suspect, none of those officers fired their weapons. So you ask yourself again, and we say this all the time, when you're around other officers, and somebody starts firing their weapon, usually other officers will start to fire at the same time. In this situation, it doesn't appear to be, but there were 16 shots fired. I am assuming they all came from that one officer, but the bottom line is it didn't seem this guy was a threat. He was walking away. Why did it take so long? Why did it take 13 months for this video to come out? Because when we look at the video now, we can see that it really shows, it puts bad light on this situation. And maybe, of course, with all of the other things that's been going on in public trust with police, they were concerned about, I guess, people uprising and what people would do.
And Matthew, that's something that I wanted to ask you. This happened 13 months ago, and the prosecutor admitted that a judge's order to release the video made her move up the announcement of the charge of first-degree murder for the officer. So why did this investigation need to take 13 months to even come to that charge when we're looking at this video and seeing what it appears to show us?
Well, see, and again, that's all what's putting a taint on law enforcement all over the country is, are we hiding things? Are we not being transparent with the public? You got to put it out there. You can't be concerned about what the other folks may do. You have to just tell it like the way it is. The longer you hold this evidence, the more folks will begin to distrust police and what the integrity of law enforcement, which is on question right now. Again, we're seeing a direct video of a man walking away and he's just being shot, literally gunned down. And again, there was no reason for it, but this man this officer kept his job, I assume, and unless they were paying him for well over a year, and now he's being charged with murder. So it seems like this is something that could have been wrapped up a long time ago. But again, it brings all kinds of, and it's going to bring a lot of questions as to why the Chicago police operate in this manner.
And I want to switch gears now to Minneapolis. Protests breaking out over another black man killed by a cop, 24-year-old Jamar Clark. Now, there are conflicting reports over whether Clark was in handcuffs when he was shot or whether he was trying to take the officer's gun. Those details, this shooting was only 9 days ago, we're not sure about. What do we know about the Jamar Clark situation and now the protests that are taking over Minneapolis?
Well, I don't really know a whole lot on that situation, but again, once again, we got situations here where we got police actions are called into question, whether or not it was unnecessary force. We're seeing this over and over again only because of the video cameras. I've worked in law enforcement for 32 years, and I was with SWAT team. I did a lot of street arrests and these type of things, and moments notice situations, we call them. And each time, you know, when we look at the video and we look at what the officers were saying occurred, a lot of times it's always quite different. And so I think that's what you have in Milwaukee. And you got the people concerned about why is it that the police officers seem to have this sort of aggressive behavior, especially in minority communities where people are black and poor, in those type of communities. Why is it always a race, it seemed like, incident involving white versus black? So this seems to be an issue around the country. I've seen it in my line of work, you know, some of the stuff that we would do. And again, I go back to the video cameras are bringing this stuff to light.
Right. Retired Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal Matthew Fogg, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise.
Thank you.
On Thursday, after a journalist filed a public information lawsuit against the city, a judge in Chicago ruled that police must release a video of a fatal shooting of a 17-year-old black teenager in October of 2014. Laquan McDonald was shot 16 times by a police officer, including multiple times in the back. Police said he was lunging at them with a knife. A lawyer for his family has said the video from a patrol car dashboard camera showed McDonald with a knife in his hand but moving away from police. The city of Chicago has refused to release the video, saying it could taint ongoing investigations of the officer.
Showing a white police officer fatally shooting a black teenager. The disturbing video shows 17-year-old Laquan McDonald being shot 16 times by Officer Jason Van Dyke on the city's southwest side in October 2014. The veteran officer was charged with first-degree murder of the teen on Tuesday and is no longer being paid by the police department. The video shows the teen walking through the street holding what reports say is a 3-inch knife when he is suddenly shot and falls to the ground. A judge ordered the city to release the video no later than Wednesday. Mayor Rahm Emanuel urged Chicago residents to stay calm before the video's release as the city has been preparing for protests.